I have been keeping a pretty close eye on Wuthering Waves and seeing the direction that it's going in, both in terms of its music and its general plot and story beats. And while I haven't fully caught up with 1.1, I have been enjoying the combat as I did in the 1.0 release very much. The music appears to be getting much better too as I continue to slowly work my way through this. I followed Narushia over on Twitter /X, and they posted this battle OST from 1.1, and I really actually am extremely excited to talk about this with you. So just structurally speaking, what's really cool is that one of the things that I didn't like about the Flame Rider theme is that it didn't really go anywhere necessarily. And the Crownless theme spent half of its time sort of building up to, and then eventually it got to this electronic guitar riff, if I recall correctly. And it took forever to build, and it also just had it was lacking. It was really lacking, the battle themes, and I had just come off the heels of Stellar Blade, which its battle themes were phenomenal and extremely polished. So Wuthering Waves sort of got caught up in a crosshair there because of the fact that I had just listened to something that was so clean and polished that the natural comparison that my ear made was not a very good one. However, this is really interesting to me because the way that we're building up here is very cool, especially if you take a look at this part. We had this in the Flame Rider theme as well, this sort of sound effect crunchy, but look at how we're building here. So that's a natural build-up, and that's creating a sense of tension. That's a really good structural decision, because what we're doing is we're having a slow build into a beat drop, which helps us as listeners feel slightly more engaged. So then what's cool about this section is that we have a shift in the dynamics of this piece. It becomes a lateral thing rather than a lengthwise thing. And that's really fun because when you look at it and listen to it, we have bum bum bado, dum ba da ba da ba da dum bum bado. And then you add this layer, which causes a sense of fear and a sense of discomfort. And it's a stacked thing where you're also hearing some sort of twisting sound effect, some sort of like almost like a chant thing in there, kind of like a dilapidated vocal part. And you have a lengthening this way of tonal texture, which is really important when we're talking about composition. Yeah, and so we've built up to something. We also have a slight shift in here, right around this part. You see that? So there's and then we also have this caesura where we pause for a second, and then we switch into another beat pattern. So what we're doing is we start in one section, pause, and then we start up another section, and that's really good because we essentially are having a journey musically. And so here is another shift. Now I'm pausing a lot because I want you to understand why this is working really well and why this structurally is interesting and sounds good. Now we have another phase. So we're having, in the first, the 42 seconds, we've had multiple different structural shifts. That keeps it interesting and that keeps it going somewhere. Otherwise it's flat and it's just noise. Shifting rhythm. And this is interesting to me because now we have a shifted rhythm. So now we're going, and the tonal structure of these riffs is like scratching. Almost, you feel like the tetrapod is clawing at something. And so, and here there's a real sense of like danger that's like digging inside of you, and it's done really, really, really nicely. I like this a lot. Another climb. So even that little tiny musical structure there, that little melodic pattern, that's quite nice. I would like to see that extended, because you can throw, to me, I'm thinking a lot about things like Narwhal, where Narwhal is a sort of set build up to something, and then the climax is that fantastic singing portion. Now, I'm not saying that Wuthering Waves needs to have the same identity musically as PGR, but what I am saying is that there is a certain technique in that build up to the great big vocal part that is such a wonderful payoff that helps the experience be more intense. Here we have this really nice starting to go somewhere melodically, but it sort of gets undercut slightly, which I would have liked to have seen this fleshed out a little bit more. Same rhythm pattern as before. Again, the crunching sound effect, a little bit of discomfort. I really like that sound effect. So it seems like that's actually a 45 to 1 minute and 10 seconds loop, and the choral part at the end, that's actually where the loop ends. Let me just check. Yeah, so that's where the loop ends. I mean, that's quite good, and I do think that we're moving in a direction where it's a bit more interesting and a bit more heavy, and I think that's great. I really have a lot of hope and excitement with Wuthering Waves, and I'm still trying to stay with it. There's a lot of stuff that's always happening on my plate, so I'm not necessarily always able to be on top of things. So the thing is that, like, what I felt from the original pieces was a bit of a flat quality, and I'll be honest that the first video I filmed, my bad, I just finished streaming like 5 hours, and I did like a very quick thoughts, and everything I said was accurate. I do feel like the 1.0 version of Wuthering Waves was fairly disappointing when it came to its music. I felt sort of like, wow, really? This is it? And I still feel that way. I mean, I've been playing through the 1.0 region and trying to catch up a little bit, and I'm still like, oh god, this vocalist here that plays in this is so bad. I mean, there are things that I really dislike about this soundtrack, but yeah, and just to sort of reiterate that point, if we go over to the Crownless OST from Wuthering Waves. It's fine. It creates an atmosphere. It's super ambient. You do get that really nice crunch in it. But it's just repeating itself over and over and over. Now, ultimately, it's also just preference, because like that's a minute of music that essentially kind of doesn't do anything. It just sort of is repeating itself. It exists, and that's kind of it. Like now we get this sort of subtle bubbling section, and it's fine. It really is fine. But like, let's keep listening. Okay. Little bit of a build-up. Nice touches with the piano. Fine. The piano accents are fine. So to me, it's like we spend all this time in this build up for a minute and a half, and there's a bit of a shift, and that's fine. But then we get to the actual drop, and the payoff is sort of, it's just a bunch of repeated notes. Ba-dum, ba-dum, bum, ba-dum, ba-da, 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 ba, ba-da, 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 da-da, ba-da, da-da, da. That doesn't do it for me. And what I do like about this new sound direction is that we are essentially getting a sound quality that has a lot more intensity in it, and then that really gives a quality and a feeling of danger. And also we're flirting a little bit with melody, which is really great. You know, it's interesting. I have high hopes for Wuthering Waves. I still do, and I'm really excited about the game still. It's wonderful, and yeah, so that's sort of my take on the direction that we're going in with 1.1. I think it's only going to keep getting better, and I have a lot of faith in Kuro to do it. It's really one of the only gacha games, besides right now I'm playing ZZZ and Arknights, but super loosely. But Wuthering Waves is one of the gacha games that I most am excited about and most want to support, and I have a lot of faith that we're going to get to a spot where the melody really starts to lean in, and again, it could just be preference, but that's my perspective on where we are in 1.1, and I'm excited to see where we go, and I'm excited to get to 1.1 myself. As always, thanks a ton, and I will see you later. Bye.